I mean, this season coming up, it's kind of a crossroads season for Toronto. You know, they've got
Yeah, so was the
obviously.
trade deadline last year, and so was this offseason. I answered
Hey,
somebody
I
on
can't
Twitter
believe they
X
didn't
today.
move these guys. I
Like
can't
I
believe
like
they didn't move these guys last year at the deadline, man. I mean, I am just shocked to push it off to now. I mean, again, they lose Fred Van Vliet during the summer. They're gonna have a decision to make on OG Anunoby and on Pascal Siakam, no matter what. I mean, is there a scenario in which they don't make this Damian Lillard trade? And then they wind up moving both OG and Pascal Siakam this year before the trade deadline, and we just witness another. I mean, it would be the first real teardown since Masai got there.
yeah, what's funny is he came to Toronto and everybody was like waiting for the
He's gonna
teardown,
tear it down. I
and then
remember all the stories were like, finally, Masai's gonna get a chance to tear something down, and then he makes the big trade, and they get Kawhi and then win a title.
well, I mean, just take it back to 2013-14, we were a James Dolan veto basically away from Kyle Lowry going to the Knicks, and who knows what happens to DeMar at that point, and we might have seen like a real teardown. And I think with a title under the Raptors belt, the fans will take the results, but it's just funny looking back on Masai Ujiri's tenure, and like everybody thought this was going to be like the first media day, the 2013 media day. I remember there was a question specifically about tanking, and I don't even remember which player it was giving the interviewer like the side eye, saying, because we know players don't tank, it's
Right.
organizations that tank. I've forgotten your actual question now, but
Well, could we see this be a
there's
teardown? Yeah.
a chance. I would be surprised if both of them were traded. It wouldn't shock me, but like I think the most sensible thing is that one of them is traded and one of them is extended, because I don't think there's a ton of appetite for like, and they've seen what has been out there for both players. That is the benefit of the deadline and the offseason. It's not like they've lacked for offers on these players. It's not like they don't know what the current market value is. Now, the market value will always be changing, but they approximately know what they can get, which is why, in all honesty, a trade hasn't happened. Obviously, they haven't been overwhelmed by such an offer, but I think they're almost, if this trade or a similar trade, and I don't know who that would be, doesn't manifest, barring this fitting way better under a new coach than it did under the old coach Nick Nurse, who, like, whatever you think of him, is a pretty smart guy when it comes to basketball. I think one of them would be very likely to go. Saying that, I am just making no proclamations about them definitely trading anybody, because I was with you at the deadline. I don't know how many trade columns I wrote. I don't know about the off-season columns about potential trades. We've all heard the rumors about Siakam to Atlanta. This front office is patient. I've argued, some others have argued, sometimes patient to a fault, but to their credit, if you think it's worth the credit, they've been patient to put themselves in a position to get in the Damian Lillard conversation. And if that's something they see as worthwhile, well, that patience will have paid off for their ultimate view. We could
But
disagree.
this is
Yeah.
ultimately about being in the Giannis Antetokounmpo conversation and the Joel Embiid conversation, correct?
I don't know if it's ultimately about that, but it is. I don't think they think they're not in that conversation with Lillard, but they probably think it would help. But again, it depends on what you're moving out, because if you're moving out that package, again, the OG package, let's call it, what are you trading to make that work financially? Like it just becomes hard to make it work and all fit on the same timeline. I'm not saying it can't.
Sure.
Like obviously you could extend and trade Scotty when he becomes eligible. You can sign Pascal and then trade him, and that's a big part of it. But it becomes like it's very difficult to make it part of the same timeline, I would say. Yeah, that'd be a dream, but I don't think that's what the Lillard trade is all about. It's partly about it, but not all about it.
Yeah, but we'll be doing this next summer, talking about Giannis, because it's just the way that the world works.
Remember basketball, Dave?
Hey, listen,
I
hey,
know, I know how much of an old man I sound like, and I don't like it, and like I do like thinking about front office
sure.
machinations. I like it's interesting. I get why people are interested. I'm interested. It's just not all that I'm interested in, and that's where it becomes exhausting to me. But none of these front offices owe it to me to not exhaust me mentally.
That's right. It's a
they have
82
different
game league.